Hey guys, so I really haven't been making videos as much as I want to lately, and I think that for you it's probably not going to be noticeable as much because I have uploaded things in a way that they will release hopefully weekly this month, and basically some of the videos that you've seen the past few weeks they were recorded months ago. And my plan was this year, because of my college class practicum, that I was going to just have a bunch of videos made, and that way they would just come out on a certain schedule, and that way hopefully I could just build a new subscriber thing and I just make content that I want to make. And I'm very proud of the videos that I've made, but I will say that it was very weird that I was not able to follow that plan the way I wanted to. A couple things happened. Number one, I've just been so busy with college that all the stuff I've been involved in, like film projects and whatnot, have really just occupied all that time. And then I've had other things I've needed to attend to, like volunteering at church and doing homework and then working on other projects. So the content that I've wanted to make, even though I've set it to come out specifically on certain dates, is a bit delayed, which is a shame, because I really felt like I was getting into a groove this year, but life happens. And then I got hand, foot, mouth, which was super, super weird. And as a result, I've lost all of my fingernails except one, and that one's gonna come off really soon. But yeah, I know you clicked on this video for a reason, and I have no clue what I'm going to title this video, because I want to talk about Xbox. I've talked about Xbox in the past, and I just want to say that my mentality has changed so much towards Xbox, because on the one hand, a lot of the Xbox generation for the past 11 years has just been straight up copium. There's been some real good stuff, like they really turned the Xbox One generation around, with introducing backwards compatibility and redoing their stance on DRM. And even though that we're not quite there yet with the Series X, the moves they've been making in the last few months and weeks have spoken volumes, and it's really just ridiculous that it's taken this long. And I think a bunch of us would rather have it just been instantly, instead of seeing the Xbox that we grew up with change so dramatically. But the writing's been on the wall for a while now, and basically I've got a point here, and I'll start with this little conversation or topic. So earlier this year, Xbox announced that they were going to be releasing just a handful of exclusives on other platforms to see how they would do. Okay, well, the games were Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and I think Grounded, and maybe Pentiment. Nothing too big, And on the one hand, I really think exclusives need to die, right? But nobody wants to be the first one to let exclusives go to a different platform. Perhaps with what Microsoft is doing, this will encourage other platforms to allow their games to come to other platforms. Sony is kind of flirting with that idea with PlayStation releases, but Microsoft is also devaluing their own console. They recently had an ad campaign saying, "This is an Xbox." No, this is an Xbox. And while I've understood that, certainly I've had my ROG Ally review, and I basically said, look, Game Pass has made this thing incredibly versatile. I can take games that I have on Game Pass. Most of the time, saves will transfer over. And if saves don't transfer over, then I still have access to that game via Game Pass. But Game Pass has also devalued ownership. And I'm a big physical media guy, and it's become increasingly harder to find physical Xbox games. And also, when you do find them, they're not printed on 100 gigabyte discs like they are on PlayStation. They're printed on regular Blu-rays, which is fine if you're going to print multiple discs, but most of the time Xbox doesn't do that. Oddly enough, there is a really weird outlier. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition came on 3 discs on PlayStation, and the DLC is included on that disc. But on PlayStation, even though it's printed on a 4K disc, a 100 gigabyte disc, the DLC is a voucher code, which is really weird because normally PlayStation has all the content available on those discs. But anyway, I'm saying this because I have a point. When Warhammer Space Marine 2 came out, I went to go look for an Xbox copy. I thought surely the game's not going to be sold out anywhere. And it wasn't. So I went to I went to a GameStop that I don't normally go to, and they didn't have it. I'm like, okay. They had a pre-ordered copy, but they only had one copy, so they couldn't just give that away. I went to a store at my local mall called Vintage Stock. Normally, they're really good at having all sorts of physical media. Wasn't there. Each place I went to, by the way, had the PlayStation 5 version. I went to the local Walmart. Didn't have it. This is a game I really wanted to have on physical media. And the game has cross-save, and I have a PlayStation, but I really wanted it for Xbox just because that's where I've built my library. That's where all my achievements are. I would say where all my friends are, but it's really just one friend at this point. And it's just been... it's just brand loyalty. I know that sounds stupid because a lot of people say, oh, brand loyalty doesn't exist, and if you're loyal to this brand, then you're stupid for thinking that. But it's like when you go and buy like a TV, or you're putting a specific type of oil in your car. There's a reason why you've chosen that brand, and it's because it's gotten the job done and you haven't had any issues with it. But anyway, I also went to the store I work at Target, and they didn't have it. And it's not because the game sold out. It's because Xbox is printing less and less physical games. And as a physical media guy, that is not the kind of world I want to live in. And I know that there's going to be some comments like, this is why you should have backed PlayStation. PlayStation is all for physical. Not true. If that were true, they wouldn't be printing or making digital only consoles. And even though they still make plenty of games on discs, they see the writing on the wall too. I guarantee you every company does. And so the point where I'm at as a fan is I've come to realize that Xbox is becoming what Sega was when they changed their business strategy. Because Sega's not dead. They are still very much alive. But Sega, as we knew them in the early 2000s, is dead, right? They went full multi-plat. And Xbox is going to be full multi-plat. And yet they're still going to make hardware. It's really weird. The games that they're going to make in the future are going to be very, very good. I'm really looking forward to Avowed. Indiana Jones has potential. I have not played Black Ops 6 yet because you literally do not own that game. There's not a single playable file off that disc. It is just a download key. There is no functional offline mode, even though the game has a campaign because of some weird texture streaming issue through the internet. So ownership is becoming less and less. And the dilemma I find myself in is I want physical media. I really do. But not only is it becoming more expensive, especially if you collect 4K movies, prices have gone up $5 to $10 per movie. But games aren't even getting content on the disc. And the reason for owning Xbox hardware specifically is becoming increasingly pointless. If everything is an Xbox now, why should I own an Xbox? My only reason for continuing to use my Xbox as of this moment is just because of the sheer amount of games that I have, and that's pretty much it. I've collected some stuff for it still, but I'm really thinking about making the switch, and I am very confused, and I don't know what I should switch to, because on the one hand, Nintendo Switch, they've actually got a pretty 50-50 split on physical media sales, which I think is very interesting, but their hardware, not exactly the power level I would like it to be. I love the portability. It's why I got my Switch, so that way I could play Doom and Skyrim on the go. It wasn't because of any Nintendo exclusive, although I'm hoping to change that within the next year. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution. And PlayStation, while I love Spider-Man, I love Bloodborne, I don't have the library that I have there on Xbox. I don't anticipate paying for a PlayStation Plus membership, and it is not backwards compatible with PS3. And the 7th generation is the generation for me. Like, there will never be a greater generation than that. And I think, that's going to be true of anybody who grows up during a specific generation. But I'll tell you what, if the PS5 got PS3 backwards compatibility, and even PS2 and PS1, it's over at that point. But I'm e-balling. I'm eyeballing switching to PC entirely. And I know that is a death sentence for physical media. However, the versatility that PC offers with cracks and game preservation, not just in emulation, but the community working as best as they can to keep games alive, I think that is not something that I can just turn my brain off to. I know that if a game comes out and if a game dies, no matter how big or small that game is, there is going to be a dedicated community to bringing that game back. And also, PC is like the place for backwards compatibility, because there technically isn't backwards compatibility on PC, because everything just is a PC game. So it's really weird. I'll give this example. Like, my friend has been getting back into comic books lately, and as a result, playing more comic book video games. So he recently bought the Batman Arkham trilogy on Xbox. They got a bundle with Return to Arkham and Arkham Knight with all the DLC. But for some reason, Arkham Origins is delisted, so he can't buy that game digitally, and it's kind of rare to come across physically, at least at my local game stores. I'm sure you can buy it online, but I'm also sure because it's delisted, it's overpriced. So on PC, it's still up for some reason. And that's what I'm talking about with switching to PC entirely. You get the best of all worlds. You'll get PlayStation video games at some point, like Spider-Man 2 is coming to PlayStation in January, I believe. And it's even a great place to play abandonware. So games that have been delisted forever that don't have a modern physical release. And it's interesting because that software exists on older consoles because they got physical releases, but PC doesn't do physical games anymore, so it's really weird. But with my ROG Ally, I'm thinking, because I use that basically as like an Xbox handheld, even though right now I have SteamOS completely installed on it, like I've just completely gotten rid of Windows. It's an interesting dilemma. But I've thought about, if Xbox were to make a handheld, then that would make things a little bit more stomachable to stay with Xbox, because then you're talking about taking your existing game library on the go, and that's where I've built most of my library. The only issue is going to be disc-based games, right? But there's been talk about Steam coming to Xbox for a while now, and if that happens, not only is it it's game over for PlayStation, because then Xbox has literally just become a PC at that point. And I think where Xbox is now is they're trying to combine PC and Xbox, right? There hasn't been an exclusive Xbox game, like specifically to the platform, in forever. Every game that they've released pretty much since, 2016 has been exclusive to Xbox and PC. And now they're dipping their toe in the water with games like Indiana Jones and the other games. So yeah, it's really weird. Do I, at least for the next generation, do I start going all in on digital for Xbox? Because then that means that basically pushes me into PC, but then I also get the advantages of sitting down and using a console. I don't have to tinker with, PC settings and whatnot, and then saves transfer between the two most of the time, especially for Game Pass stuff. Or do I just start a new library on PlayStation? I mean, all my favorite games, for the most part, are on the 7th generation, so I can't really do that. Don't get me wrong, there's like a handful of games from the 8th and 9th gen that I really like. The standouts being like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Fallout 4. I know The Witcher 3 is not really something I've gotten into. I've been trying to, but I don't like level gating quests. I know that's a pretty good game. Red Dead 2, I've heard, is also really good. But like all my favorite games, it's not like I can take them with me over to PlayStation. Like, I can't play Black Ops 2 on PlayStation 5, right? Unless they re-release that game. I can't go and play Oblivion on PlayStation unless I stream it via the cloud, and I don't want to pay a premium for that, so that's not going to happen. What I'm talking about is native playability. It seems like PlayStation and Nintendo have heavily monetized backwards compatibility, and I don't care for that. That's one of the reasons why I backed Xbox during the 8th generation, is because they weren't charging for it. I mean, like, sure, you could go out and repurchase the games digitally, but like, if you own that game already on the 360 back in the day, disc or digital, you just had it. You didn't need to go out and rebuy it. It would be a little more stomachable if PlayStation would allow you to buy that game and then it's yours, but they're not doing that. So, like, I think the original PlayStation 1 version of Resident Evil, I think it is locked behind a membership. I don't think you can just straight up buy that game. So that's where I'm at with all this. Very confusing time to be a gamer, at least the type of gamer I am, because I love physical media. I know each company is going to do away with it entirely pretty soon, but it just kills me. Like, we're still getting collector's editions for games, like I believe Indiana Jones, there's this giant collector's edition and then a steelbook case with it, and then you open it up and it's literally just a download code. Like, what the hell? If download codes were tradable, then that would be something else entirely, but still, in conclusion, Xbox isn't going away. That much is true. Out of all the big three, they're making the most money. They're making more money than they ever have, and they're fine with that. That's the bottom line for them, and they know that. They just announced that if you have a Game Pass Ultimate membership, you'll be able to stream any game that you own from cloud. I don't like the idea that you have to have a membership to play games that you already own. I understand it's using their servers, but they should be taking more of the OnLive approach. If any of you are old enough to remember OnLive, you basically were able to purchase games and play them via the cloud. And that was really cool back in the day. Like, my PC couldn't handle playing games, but OnLive didn't matter. But now, everything is an Xbox. I see the vision Xbox has. I don't understand why they're going to continue to do hardware, so it's confusing, and I know I'm rambling here, but that's basically what's going on with me. What's going on with you? Did you guys like this video? If you did, let me know. So, yep, I'll see you guys later, and until then, I'm Jack, and I'll be back.